The 10 most common mistakes in singles. And this is across a lot of levels up until a very high level. My name is Meike Babel. I'm a former top 30 WTA pro, and trust you me, I've committed them all. I separated this video into 2 parts because yes, it takes that long to identify them all, but then better yet, to also give you the fix for what you want to do instead. So here's part 1 of the 10 most common mistakes in singles. Having no rally ball is one of the biggest issues that I'm seeing. And what I mean by that, if you hit a ball with a certain pace, your opponent matches that pace and you cannot handle that pace, that's not a rally ball. You have to be able to match your own pace. So the way that you work on that is go for numbers with a practice partner. One thing that you want to do is, if you have the benefit of having the junior lines, that is what you aim for. Okay, so you're going with 60%, 70% of what you can hit. So let's see if Erica and I have rally balls. All right, in the beginning, we can just rally through the middle. Yeah, that's a little short. I would probably get killed, but we're aiming for the junior line. That's a really good ball. That pushes me off the baseline. There we go. All right, and then once you have 10, 15, 20 balls, that is when you can increase the pace a little bit. If you continually hit too short, you need more depth, and you immediately get more depth by adding more height. So I added the squeegee in the middle of the net there to just give me another racket length of height. So that is a good rally ball. There we go. So more rotation. Ooh, we're getting a little too low. That's a really good ball. Good. See, Erica is hitting a good heavy ball here, and I'm constantly under pressure, and that's exactly what you want to do to your opponent. So the goal of the rally ball is to push your opponent off the baseline, obviously keep the ball in play, and not going for too much too soon, because that is definitely one thing that I see way too many times. All right, the progression of this drill is one of you takes a corner and hits 1, 2, 1, 2. So you're always alternating between forehand and backhand, 2 balls at a time. Your partner has just the deuce court, and then of course the outside as a target. And we're trying to keep the ball in play. If a ball goes out of bounds, I'll feed the next ball in, and we continue in that sequence. All right, here we go. 2 minutes. 1, 2. Get there, get there. There you go. That's a good ball. 2. 1, 2. Get there, get there. Yep, same thing. Rally ball, junior line, net clearance. Only that I took the... That's a good ball. Good. 2. Sorry, I missed that. That's unbelievable. 2. And yes, we're playing out balls. Start over. 1. Good ball. 2. Good. 2. Okay, good. All right, you get the idea. New balls and altitude, always great. Another mistake, too few first serves. What you don't want to do is give your opponent too many looks on your second serve, because everybody is trained to move up and to attack second serves. And then, in addition, if you haven't worked on your second serves, it's a lot of pressure on your second serve. So when you're practicing your serves, go with 80% of what you can hit max power and get a good number of balls in. Then increase the pace. But to my mind, on the serve at rec level, it's always placement over power and a high first serve percentage. Another huge mistake is getting greedy, going for the highlight shots down the line when it's not appropriate. So we're working on a drill that I call the bread and butter drill. We're going cross court because, again, it's your lowest part of the net. You have 4 more feet, and it's your natural rotation. You have fewer steps to recover, and you're not offering me any open sides of the court. Erica is allowed to go down the line when she thinks she has the right ball. So let's see what choices she makes. All right, we're going cross court, and you can go up the line, but the first 2 balls have to go to me. So that's a good heavy ball. Pushes me off the baseline. That is a really good choice to go down the line. So ideally you hit deep cross court. That's a good ball. She pushes me off, and that gives her a short ball. And you saw that she can step into the ball, and it sits a little bit more in the center of the court. That is a great time to change direction. So now we both can change direction. So both of us have to try to set up a ball that we can attack. Let's see who can pull the trigger first. I could have. All right, here is when you should not go down the line. When you see me no longer in the frame, when you're behind the alley, when you're 18 feet behind the baseline, that is not the right time to go down the line, unless your opponent hangs somewhere in the fence. If you want to change direction, you have to have a ball where you can step in and it doesn't have too much of an angle. If you have a shorter ball with an angle, I'd go for a counter angle. Just something like that. Having no strategy, not knowing what to do at all on the court, and coming onto the court, playing your match, and taking 3, 4, 5 games to figure out what your game plan is. By that time, a lot of times the first set is gone. So here's a very simple way to start with what you can do, because I always believe that I want to impose my game onto my opponent. So the first thing that I'm thinking about is what made me successful in my previous matches. So for instance, you were successful with your forehand. So the question is, how do I get more forehands? For instance, just as an example, as a right-hander on the deuce court, you serve out wide, you most likely will get a lot of balls that you can use your forehand on. You can find your forehand off of those balls. You were successful coming in. Okay, how do I force my opponent to give me short balls? I want to hit high, heavy to their backhand. Those are very, very simple things that you can start thinking about, even if you're 3-0, 3-5. What made you successful? The second thing that you should be doing is don't waste your warm-up. Don't waste the 5-10 minutes that you have to get physically warm. You should do that before you even get on the court. Go to the ball machine, the ball wall, hit with somebody, go into the parking lot, do dynamic stretching, whatever it is. You want to have already started sweating when you come on the court, because in the 5 to 10 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to check your opponent's grips, how they react to short balls, higher balls, heavier balls, topspin, slices. Do they like to volley? If somebody comes up and volleys like this here, and then runs back to the baseline to just say, okay, I warmed up my volleys, well, you know that you can bring that person in. So make sure that you scout your opponent in the warm-up. Yeah, I've been there, done that a lot. Although I do have to admit, I think I've only gotten 2 warnings for verbal outbursts. And that was when, yeah, I think I said something like man in German, which is the exact same word in English, but I still got the code. Anyways, so what should you be doing? It's the same as bad body language. I don't want to enable my opponent and help them. But how do I reframe a negative thought? Because it's pretty useless when somebody tells you, Meike, why don't you just be positive after I just flamed the ball straight into the fence? Not really helpful. Here's what I want to do. Take a couple of deep breaths. Try to accept that tennis is a game of errors. All you need is 55% of the points. Think about that for a second. Federer, Rafa, and Djokovic all only won 55% of their entire points played in the years that they were number 1 respectively. So if I make 1 mistake, try not to panic quite yet. 2 mistakes, okay, now we can start to panic. Kidding. Still not a reason to panic. Instead of immediately going into the blame game, I'm an idiot, I can't do this, why am I playing tennis? Ask yourself, what can you control this very next second? And I know it's easier said than done. It is a thing that you have to practice. Just like your forehands and your backhands. You want to ask the question, what can I control next? So for instance, I just hit a forehand right into the fence. Okay, my racket head was too open. So what can I do? I can brush over the ball more. Keep it very simple, keep it actionable. So that is how you reframe negative thoughts. And you know what? You got to practice.